Welcome to the National Gun Trust's ATF eForm 1 video walkthrough guide. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we're going over the ATF eForm 1 for a gun trust, corporation, or other legal entity. Our ATF eForm 1 video walkthrough guide will go over page by page for a gun trust, corporation, or other legal entity applicant. In order to start the ATF eForm 1 application, you'll need to have registered your account on the ATF's eForm website, or for existing users, updated your account for the new ATF eForm's website. If you haven't done so yet, please do so before continuing with this video. There is a link to our ATF eForm's website new user registration video walkthrough guide and existing user update video walkthrough guide in the video description below. Step 1. Logging in. You will need to navigate to the ATF's eForm website by going to the URL https://eforms.atf.gov. Or, depending on your browser, you can navigate to simply eforms.atf.gov. The page is divided in half. The login area is located on the right side of the screen. You will click the blue login button and click the Accept and Login to accept the DOJ's warning banner. You will enter your user ID that was emailed to you by the ATF when you registered for your account and the password that you used at the time of the account registration. If you see the appauth and / symbol before your username, that is correct. You won't need to delete that. Then you will click the blue Sign In button. You may see a spinning icon at this time while the eForm's website loads, and this is normal. Step 2. Starting your eForm 1 application. In the middle of the screen, you will see the available forms that you can use using the ATF's eForm website. Double-click the first green icon, ATF Form 1, and your form will start to load. Once loaded, you'll be able to check the appropriate applicant type and start the application. In this case, for a gun trust applicant, you will select the Trust Radio button and click Next. This screen will display the intended use form and the special instructions. Filing as a trust or other legal entity instructions state, in addition to providing the documentation of the existence of the trust or other legal entity, including a copy of the FFL license if any, the applicant must electronically provide a photograph and completed ATF Form 5320.23 NFA Responsible Person Questionnaire (RPQ) for each responsible person. See definition 1.e on the instruction page of the trust or legal entity. When filed via eForms, when in the responsible person train stop, the applicant will identify each responsible person and attach the photograph and a scanned, signed RPQ from that person. All photographs and RPQ forms must be attached to the application prior to submission. The person submitting the application on behalf of the trust or legal entity must also submit his or her fingerprints, along with the fingerprints for each responsible person. The fingerprints may be submitted using paper fingerprint cards, Form FD-258, or submitted electronically via EFT file. Upon submission of the application, the eForm system will email a cover sheet to the applicant. If the applicant uploaded electronic fingerprints in eForms using an EFT file, then the cover sheet will indicate if the electronic fingerprints have been accepted. If the cover sheet indicates the electronic fingerprints have been accepted, then no additional paper fingerprint cards are required to be mailed. If the cover sheet does not indicate the electronic fingerprints have been accepted, then the applicant must submit paper fingerprint cards, Form FD-258, that must be mailed to the NFA division within 10 business days of filing the application. The cover sheet is to be printed as it will provide the control number of the transaction and the address where to send the paper fingerprint cards. Any paper fingerprint cards must be submitted in one envelope with the application cover sheet. Please note that the F5320.23 NFA RPQ form is available in a fillable version on the ATF website, www.atf.gov. The form can be completed and printed for signature and scanning. We will then again click Next to advance to the next screen. Screen 2, Application Page. This screen is where you will indicate that you are paying the $200 tax to make an NFA firearm. You can leave the internal control number box empty if you don't have an internal control number and click Next. The applicant page is where you will indicate your information as a gun trust applicant. The title of the submitter of the application for a gun trust applicant will be Settler, Trustee, Grantor, etc., depending on your gun trust. The trust name will need to be your gun trust name. Your country, address line 1 and line 2, zip code +4 for the zip code, city, county, state, telephone, and email address should all be automatically completed based off of your profile information. If you need to update any information listed, you would do so by updating your profile page and starting a new application. We will then again click Next to advance to the next screen. Screen 4. Responsible Persons page. On the Responsible Persons page, you will enter your information as a responsible person within the gun trust, corporation, or other legal entity, and other responsible persons if applicable. The Actions tab is the last column in the table. You will see the paper and pencil icon. Click that to enter in your information. There are 26 different boxes that you will need to go through. The boxes are self-explanatory, so we will only briefly describe them and common mistakes for the boxes where applicable. Box 1. Citizenship. This is your current citizenship. Box 2. Citizenship country. This is your citizenship country if you aren't a U.S. citizen. Box 3. Cadence. This is your cadence if you have one. For example, junior, senior, second, third. Box 4. Title. This is your title. Common examples for a gun trust is settlor for the trust owner and trustee for co-trustees, etc. Box 5 through 9 should already be completed based on your account information and can be updated if need be. Boxes 6 and 7 cause errors if the information doesn't match the eForm's account holder's profile information. Box 10, Form 5320.23, will be where you will upload your signed, dated, and scanned ATF 5320.23. You can select Choose File to navigate to your signed ATF 5320.23. This file can only be a .pdf file, but must be under 3 megabytes in size. While your ATF 5320.23 is uploading, you may see a spinning blue circle that indicates your ATF 5320.23 is being uploaded. Box 11 will be where you will upload your digital passport style photo. You can select Choose File to navigate to your digital passport photo. This file can be a JPG or GIF file, but must be under 3 megabytes in size. While your passport photo is uploading, you may see a spinning blue circle that indicates your photo is being uploaded. Box 12, Electronic Fingerprints. You can upload your .eft file here if you have an electronic fingerprint card file. If you need help obtaining a .eft file, you can click the link in the description. If you don't have a .eft file, then this box will be left blank. Box 13, Social Security Number. This is your Social Security number and isn't required. However, entering your Social Security number will aid your background check and is recommended by the ATF for that reason. The ATF further indicates that, not required, failure to provide may delay processing. You won't need to include the dashes. They'll be populated automatically as you enter in your Social Security number. Box 14, Zip Code, Box 16, City, and Box 17, Full Street Address is automatically completed based off of your profile information, but you can make changes if you need to. Box 18, Date of Birth. This is your date of birth. The date slashes will be populated automatically as you enter in your date of birth. Box 19, Birth Country. This is your country of birth. Box 20, Birth State, is your birth state. Note, this will be grayed out if you did not select U.S. citizen in Box 1. Box 21, State of Residence. This is your current state of residence. Box 22, Sex. This is your sex. Box 23, Ethnicity. This is your ethnicity. Box 24, Race. This is your race. Box 25, AR number or I-9 number. This is your AR number or I-9 number if applicable, but will be completed based off of your profile information. Box 26, UPIN. This is your UPIN. If you don't have a UPIN, you can leave this box blank. Once completed, you can verify your information was entered in correctly. If you need to upload a new photo, you can do so at this time. If you have missed one of the 26 boxes, you will see a red box around the box that's missing information. You can then update that box and then proceed to click Save and Close. Note that you won't see all of the 26 columns displayed like the previous eForm's website, and this is normal. If you need to add more responsible persons, you will select the Add Responsible Person button located above the View dropdown. You can then enter in the information for your responsible person, like you did for yourself. Once you have added the responsible person's information, you can click Save and Close to add the responsible person to the table. You will only see the status, title, first name, last name, state, city, street, date of birth, sex, and race columns. If you want to see more columns, you can click the View dropdown and click the extra columns that you want to view. If you have missed a box, you will see a red triangle under the status column. If all of the boxes were completed, the status column will be blank. You can then click Next to proceed. Screen 5. CLEO page. On the CLEO page, you will enter in your CLEO information. The agency or department name is the CLEO's agency name or department. For example, Cooper County Sheriff's Office. The name of the agency official will be the CLEO's name. The title of agency official is the CLEO's title. In our example, this will be Sheriff. We will lastly fill in the mailing address of the CLEO. You will need to write in the mailing address of your CLEO and the zip code. When you enter in the zip code of your CLEO, the state, city, and county field should populate based on the entered zip code. You may need to select the city if the zip code is associated with multiple cities. You don't need to enter in the +4 for the zip code. That isn't required, but can be added. Once this is completed, we can click Next. Screen 6. Line item page for a silencer. The line item page is where we will add the firearm that you're going to make. In this example, that's a silencer. You will start by clicking the Add Firearm button located above the table and to the left. This will load a new window where the information from the firearm will be added to the eForm 1 application. We will start by selecting to search by manufacturer code. The manufacturer code for making your own silencer is FMI, Foxtrot Mike India. It isn't Foxtrot Mike and the number 1. This is a common error. You will then click Verify Manufacturer. After your manufacturer has been validated successfully, you can click OK in the new window to proceed. We will then select the manufacturer country, United States, and click Next. The second screen will load the firearm details. We will click the Product Type dropdown and select Silencer. Note, the ATF will want you to submit the following descriptive information. Pictures of the parts that you will use to make the silencer. The pictures should be clear and allow the identification of the parts photographed. A description of the processes you will use to assemble or fabricate the silencer. The product, model, or kit name, if any, of each device and/or part that you will use to make the silencer. And the source from which the parts were obtained. For example, the name of the store, website, etc. Failure to upload additional documentation could lead to the Form 1 being disapproved. You can then click OK to proceed. This will then load the available models. Once the drop-down is loaded, you can select a model name and caliber from the already manufactured list of available model numbers and caliber options. If you're looking for a specific model name, you can scroll through the list. You can also skip some scrolling if you type in the name. This will jump to that name within the drop-down. If you want to make your own model name and caliber that isn't available in the drop-down, then you can select the My Item Description is not in the list, Create New Item. But note, when this box is selected, your application will go into the pending research phase and will need to be manually reviewed by the ATF, which can extend the timeline for your application. Note, if you want to avoid the pending research phase, you will need to select a model and caliber from an already researched model and caliber. The most common is N/A, but you can scroll through the many options. In our example, we will select a silencer model from the drop-down and a new caliber to show how to enter in custom information. First, we will select the silencer model that we're going to make, National Gun Trusts. Secondly, we will click My Item Description is not in the list, Create New Item radio button to unlock the ability to write in a new caliber, 5.56 in our case, to demonstrate how these boxes work. If we use the My Item Description is not in the list, Create New Item radio button, we will also need to retype in the model. But we will ultimately select the caliber and unit of measure from the drop-down, 9mm in our case, for our example silencer. The overall length will be the estimated length of the firearm that you're making in inches. For the overall length box, you won't need to write in the word inches, just the numerical value of the measurement will be sufficient. You will then lastly write in the serial number from the silencer that you're going to make. The serial number will be created by you, the maker. The description box can be left blank. You will need to state why you intend to make a firearm. The most common examples are investment and all other lawful purposes or all lawful purposes. Other reasons may be valid, but those two are the most common. Silencer notes per the ATF that were already discussed can also be found on this screen. Once finished, you will click Next. On the third screen, you don't need to upload an electronic document on this page, since the firearm isn't a short barrel rifle, shotgun, AOW, or destructive device. The ATF wants you to upload descriptive information, pictures of the parts that you will use to make the silencer. The pictures should be clear and allow the identification of the parts photographed. Failure to upload additional documentation could lead to the Form 1 being disapproved. To do so, you can click the Browse button to navigate to the photo or documents that you're uploading as evidence of the parts that you will use to make the silencer. Add a description, for example, parts, diagrams, etc., and click Add Document. Once the pictures of the parts that will be used to make the silencer has been added to the table, you can look to the right side and under the blue box labeled Step 3. Below this, you will see the line item summary. This is a great way to review that everything you entered on the previous pages are correct. Please take a minute to verify that your information is correct. If it isn't correct, you can select Back and make the necessary changes. If your entered information is correct, you will then click Finish. You will then see the added firearm as a line item in the middle table. If you notice a mistake with the information of your firearm, you can select the paper and pencil icon located to the right of the serial number under the Actions column to make any changes. If you have missed a box, you will see a red triangle under the Status column. If all of the boxes were completed, the Status column will be blank. After you have reviewed the information from your firearm and confirmed that it's correct, you can select Next. The Electronic Documents page is where you can upload additional documents that are relevant to your application. This is most commonly used for corporations, trusts, and other legal entities. Since you're applying as a corporation, trust, or other legal entity, we will need to upload the corporation, trust, or other legal entity documents. In this example, we're applying with a gun trust. Please note that documents that you upload on the Electronic Documents page are limited to 3 megabytes in size. You can also click the link in the description to view our Shrink Your NFA Gun Trust for eForm upload service that can help you compress your gun trust to be under the 3 megabyte size. To upload the scanned copy of your notarized gun trust, you will select the Choose File or Browse button to navigate to your scanned copy of your gun trust. You will select the corporation, trust, or other legal entity from the dropdown. In the description box, you will write in your corporation, trust, or other legal entity name. Then click Add Document. You may get the spinning icon or spinning clock while your document is being added to the table. This is normal. Once complete, you should see your corporation, trust, or other legal entity document in the table. If you're planning on using the 24-month exception, you can upload that here in lieu of uploading your corporation, trust, or other legal entity paperwork. In that case, you will choose File or Browse button to navigate to your scanned 24-month exception letter. You will select the 24-month document submission exception from the dropdown. The description will be your corporation, trust, or other legal entity name, and 24-month exception after that. Then click Add. You may get the spinning icon or spinning clock while your document is being added to the table. Once complete, you should see your 24-month exception document in the table. If you need help with creating a 24-month exception letter, you can view a link to our 24-month exception letter generator in the video description. You will still need to upload any state or local permits if applicable. Once your corporation, trust, or other legal entity document or your 24-month exception letter is in the table, we can click Next. Screen 8. Verify. The Verify page is where you can verify that the information entered in is correct. You will have to review your entered-in information and certify that the information is correct before you can proceed to the next page. If you need to make any changes, you can go back to the appropriate section and make the changes. Screen 9. Certify page. The Certify page is where you will need to certify, pay for your application, and sign and submit for your application. If you didn't select the My Item Description is not in the list, Create New Item on the Line Item page, or have any page errors, then you should see a green check mark stating that the application has been validated successfully. If you did select the My Item Description is not in the list, Create New Item on the Line Item page, then you should see a yellow triangle stating that the model or manufacturer that you have indicated is either unknown or is not listed in the ATF reference tables. ATF will have to validate the information that you provided prior to rendering a decision on your application. This may extend the average processing time for this application. Both will allow you to proceed if you don't have any application errors. If you have any application errors, you will also be told this here with a red triangle or X and links to the pages that need to be fixed. If you have no errors, you can select the radio button under Certify. To certify that, under penalties imposed by 18 U.S.C. 924 and 26 U.S.C. 5861, I certify that, upon submission of this form to ATF, a completed copy of this form will be directed to the CLEO shown in Item 10, that the statements, as applicable, contained in this certification, and any attached documents in support thereof are true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. Next, you will need to click the Pay button. This will open up a window confirming that you want to continue to pay. To do so, click Continue to open up the Pay.gov pop-up that you will use to pay for the $200 tax stamp. If you have a pop-up blocker enabled, you may need to disable that in order to view the payment window. You will need to follow the steps in the Pay.gov pop-up that are self-explanatory. Once your payment has been submitted, you will see a window indicating that your payment has been successfully submitted and that you can now close the payment window. This will then allow you to click the Sign and Submit button. Next, you can then click the I'm not a robot button to complete the CAPTCHA. After you have selected the photos and verified that you aren't a robot, this will then allow you to click the Sign and Submit button. You will lastly need to confirm your submission by typing in your ATF eForms account PIN. After you click Submit, you may see the spinning icon at this time while your application is being submitted, and this is normal. Mailing instructions. We will now discuss the ATF eForm 1 mailing checklist. After submitting your application to the ATF will email your cover sheet and your ATF Form 1. If your application had a yellow triangle on the Certify page, then your application will start in the pending research status. This means that your ATF Form 1 that was emailed to you will be watermarked draft, and the cover sheet won't have a valid control number or serial number. In this case, you will need to wait for the ATF to review your application. Once your application is reviewed, the ATF will change your application from pending research to submitted. At this time, you will receive another email from the ATF with your ATF Form 1 watermarked submitted and a valid cover sheet. This will be the time that you will be able to mail your cover sheet, fingerprint cards to the ATF, and mail your CLEO paperwork to your CLEO. This can take the ATF up to 150 days to change your application from pending research to submitted. If your application had a green check mark on the Certify page, then your application will start in the submitted status. Your cover sheet will have a valid control number and serial number. The below items will be sent to the ATF after you have received a valid cover sheet from the ATF. The valid cover sheet. 2 fingerprint cards for each responsible person named within your application. You should mail your cover sheet and fingerprint cards to the ATF with a shipping method that offers a tracking number to ensure that your package was delivered. You will only have 10 business days to have your fingerprint cards and cover sheet to be delivered to the ATF. Your application may be denied if the ATF doesn't receive your cover sheet and fingerprint cards within the 10 business days. If you have uploaded your .eft file during your application, you won't need to send the cover sheet to the ATF. The below items will be sent to the CLEO that you named within the application. The CLEO copy of your ATF eForm 1 that was emailed to you. The CLEO copy of the ATF 5320.23 Responsible Persons Questionnaire for each responsible person. The CLEO copy doesn't require a passport photo. You won't need to send any FD 258 fingerprint cards to your CLEO. You don't need to ship the CLEO copy of the ATF eForm 1 and the CLEO copies of the ATF 5320.23 with tracking. After your cover sheet and fingerprint cards are received by the ATF, your application is considered to be submitted. If you have uploaded your .eft file and submitted your application, it is considered to be submitted. Once approved, the ATF will email your approved tax stamp to the email address from your ATF eForm account. The ATF won't send you a physical tax stamp. If you want a physically printed tax stamp, you can view our ATF eForm 1 tax stamp printing service in the video description below. This completes the ATF eForm 1 Gun Trust, Corporation, or other legal entity ATF eForm 1 video walkthrough guide. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any further questions, you can email us your question using the link in the video description, reach out to us on Reddit using our account u/National Gun Trusts, or by simply leaving a comment below.